You know, some mysteries are so dark, so unsettling. They kind of become a part of a city's DNA. And today, we're diving into one of the most infamous and most chilling unsolved cases in all of American history. Los Angeles. Back in the 1940s, this was the city of dreams. But for one young woman, it was about to become the start of an absolute nightmare.
The day was January 15th, 1947, a date that would be burned into the city's memory forever.
So picture this. A young mom is out for a walk with her kid, and she spots something in a vacant lot. From a distance, she thinks, oh, it's just a discarded mannequin. But as she gets closer, her blood just runs cold. That's no mannequin. Not at all. Okay, so what the authorities found that morning, it was something that would shock even the most hardened, seen-it-all detectives.
The victim's body had been surgically, and I mean surgically, cut perfectly in half at the waist. Her face had been grotesquely slashed from the corners of her mouth to her ears, creating this horrifying smile. But maybe the most disturbing part of it all, her body had been completely drained of blood, and there wasn't a single drop at the scene. This meant only one thing: she was killed somewhere else, and her killer placed her there on display, deliberately.
It didn't take long to identify her. This was Elizabeth Short, a 22-year-old who, like so many others, had come to Hollywood chasing a dream of stardom. The press, in their frenzy, gave her a name that has been echoing through true crime history ever since: the Black Dahlia.
But behind all the gruesome headlines and that haunting nickname, there was a real person. So, who was she? Who was this young woman before she became a legend? Right, so before all this horror, before the mystery, Elizabeth Short was just another hopeful face drawn to the bright lights of Tinseltown.
See, in the 1940s, Hollywood sold this dream of instant fame and glamour, right? That you could become a star overnight. But for Elizabeth, the reality was, well, it was a real struggle. She bounced around, had a tough time finding steady work, and even though she was out there, socializing, trying to make connections, that big break just never came. People who knew her said she was quiet but really charming. And they remembered one specific thing about her style. She almost always wore black clothing. A little personal detail that, as it turns out, would later help shape that infamous nickname.
The sheer brutality of this crime sent shockwaves across the entire country. This wasn't just some local case anymore. The LAPD and even the FBI were now on a nationwide hunt for a monster.
Now, what's really fascinating here is just how fast they identified her, especially for the 1940s. The LAPD used this early version of a fax machine, it was called a sound photo, to send her fingerprints to the FBI. And get this, in just 56 minutes, the FBI had a match. It was Elizabeth Short, from a file they had on her for an old underage drinking charge. A really incredible break, right at the start of the case. So once they knew who she was, the press needed a catchy name for the story. The Black Dahlia was born. It was probably a mix of two things: her habit of wearing black, and a nod to this popular crime movie that had just come out called The Blue Dahlia. The name stuck, and it cemented her place in legend forever. So, with a fast ID and a huge investigation underway, you'd think they were close to solving it. But as investigators are about to find out, every single promising lead was about to dissolve into a frustrating dead end.
The killer's skill set seemed to point in one really chilling direction. The way her body was cut in half, it was just too clean, too precise. It suggested someone with real medical training. So, was it a doctor? A surgeon? The police were so sure they even started questioning medical students from USC. But it all led nowhere. No proof, nothing.
And then, a potential break. An anonymous letter shows up, and the writer seems to know things about the crime. But the most exciting part, on that envelope, investigators found exactly what they were looking for.
Fingerprints. You can just imagine the hope in the task force. They run the prints through the huge FBI database, totally expecting a hit that would crack this case wide open. The result? Absolutely devastating. No match. The prints didn't belong to anyone in their system. Just like that, another promising lead went completely cold. I mean, the scale of this investigation was just massive. Over the years, police formally investigated more than 150 different people as suspects. You even had dozens of people come forward and confess to the murder, but every single one of their stories fell apart. And that really brings us to the core question of this entire case, doesn't it? With a nationwide manhunt, hundreds of suspects, and all these clues, why did every single path
just lead to a dead end?
As years turned into decades, the case officially went cold. The trail was gone. But the story itself? Oh, the story never died. Let's dig into why. Even after more than 75 years, this mystery continues to completely captivate and haunt us.
This quote really just sums up the whole tragic irony of it all. Elizabeth Short came to Hollywood hoping to see her name in lights. Instead, she found this dark, twisted kind of immortality that she never, ever asked for.
Because there was never an official answer, it's created this void that has just been filled with endless speculation. The Black Dahlia case is now a permanent fixture in American culture, inspiring so many books, movies, and a truly dizzying number of theories about who the killer could have been.
Which leaves us with that one central, haunting question. Who did it? Was it a doctor with a dark secret? Some powerful Hollywood figure who was protected from the law? Or just some random sadistic killer who was never caught? The possibilities are as terrifying as they are endless.
More than 75 years later, the killer has never been found. The file is still technically open, a permanent scar on the history of Los Angeles. But somewhere, hidden away in the shadows of the past, the truth of what really happened to Elizabeth Short might still be out there.